Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very special guest, a young man who has had a long grind in the game of baseball to get where he's at. Finally made his Major League debut. Hey, I say that, big smile, Big Mike, the British gas, man. Congratulations on the Major League debut, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take you back all the way to Riverside, California. You got to play actually in high school with a former Dodgers pitching prospect as well, Trevor Betancourt. The way he put it was, hey, Big Mike's always throwing fuzz. Take us back to those days, man.
Fun. It was fun. I grew up with Betancourt for years. I even grew up earlier. He used to be a rival when we were like in elementary school in Little League. He went to a school that was, he played in a different league that was always really good, and we always fought and would always fight in All-Stars. It was always him versus us, drove me nuts. Then we ended up playing together in high school, and it was just always a good dude, always a buddy. He always had some nasty curveball. I wish I would have picked his brain more for his off speed because, I mean, his stuff was always nasty.
You kind of took my next question out of my mouth. What was better, the big fastball of the British gas, as you're known, or the big curveball of Betancourt? Which one was better?
Through high school, his curveball was always nasty. He would go out and just chew up lineups.
Yeah.
It was him.
He actually got to pitch with Shane Bieber in college there at Santa Barbara, so that was pretty cool. Hey, moving on from Riverside, there's a saying there known as Riverside Grit. Austin Barnes is from Riverside. I'm sure you guys shared some stories.
Yeah, we did. Actually, one of my first days in spring training, I kind of started ripping on Riverside, which wasn't my best, but in my defense, where I lived in Riverside wasn't great. And so I was talking about that, and Barnes comes up to me and goes, "I'm from Riverside. Why are you ripping on my city?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, I had some great times. I loved it down there."
Oh, wow. You changed courses really fast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did. I had some great times, but, man, the apartment I lived in was not one of those great times. It was a two-bedroom for $900 a month, and a guy that was living beneath me was doing some shady stuff.
Oh, wow. Wow. What a story. So you've been drafted 4 times, correct?
Yeah, I have.
And so it's been a long ride to get to the major leagues. First of all, take us through what your journey was like before you got to the Dodgers, and then we'll get into whenever you got the call.
It's been long. The hard part was that I never felt like it was a long ride. It was just that I got injured and COVID happened at a really inopportune time. I got Rule 5 to the Rockies, and that next year was COVID. And that was the year where I was like, okay, I got Rule 5, minor league Rule 5. I'm going to start this big run. This team sees something in me. COVID. So I go home, come back. First weekend of spring training, I get TJ, and so you end up losing 2 seasons, and it just happens really quick. And by the time I finally started to come back, it was like, oh, you went from being a little bit older to, wow, you're way older.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then along that ride, you got to pitch in the World Baseball Classic for Great Britain. You were born in Great Britain, right?
Yeah.
So, like, people hear that and they expect this dude to have this British accent, and they're like, wait a minute, this guy didn't sound like I'm supposed to, right?
No, I'm immensely Californian, which is a bummer. I would have loved a good accent.
Okay, man, I got to hear all about the at-bat where you struck out Nolan Arenado, man. That was cool.
Oh, it was crazy. That was technically still part of my rehab outings.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I know that, yeah.
So I only had an allotment of pitches I could throw. I could only go 1 inning or 25 pitches. And I still do this to this day. I don't like knowing who's coming up. I don't like knowing anything. You can tell me right, left, right, cool. I don't care where I am in the lineup. I attack everyone like they're the best hitter in the world. And I get in this account where thankfully I get the first guy out, and all of a sudden you hear Nolan Arenado. I'm kind of looking up, and 60 feet away, I was like, oh man, it's a heck of a hitter. And the worst part was I was not landing my curveball. We had a couple pre-season games against the Brewers, and a kid parked a ball on me because I just was throwing fastballs. And so I was like, okay, don't do that. You need to land a curveball. First pitch, land it. And I was like, okay, well, let's try that again. Let's see if I can land 2. Land a second one. And I was like, all right, well, I have to throw a fastball here. I know I have that. And, 0-2 in this count, thinking, throw it, get it up. Maybe he swings, maybe he doesn't, change his eyesight. And right when I threw it, right when it left my hand, I'm like, oh, that's a great pitch. I think that's going to be a good pitch. Swung through it, and it didn't hit me that happened until the inning was over. I came off, one of my teammates like, I got the ball. I was like, what ball? He goes, your strikeout. And I'm like, I did strike out someone, didn't I?
Oh, fantastic. Hey, was Jesse Guffey the trainer on that team?
He was.
Yeah, Guff's a great dude. He was a trainer at Tulsa forever.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome, isn't he?
He's fantastic. That man is a character. It's also great to have, this huge mountain of a man when you need to like get into stuff and work on your muscles. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and he knows a little bit about baseball too.
Oh yeah.
So why the Dodgers in the offseason?
I actually played with a guy named Justin Brule who was here last year.
JB. Dad's a great bowler, by the way.
Yeah. I need to get out there and see. No, I'm terrible. But he was like always talking about the Dodgers. Was like, hey, this team has unbelievable training staff. Unbelievable. It will get you to where you want to be. Like a lot of organizations they try, but he was like, this team will actually get you. He's like, this team is a team that I think will be huge for your career. And so when I went into free agency, I was like, if they show interest, I would love to go over and play. We'll see. And first day in the free agency, like we show interest, we like him, but didn't get an offer until January, February. I'm sitting here, I was like, this is where I want to go. Hopefully they will give me that shot. Thankfully they did, and boom, I became a Dodger.
2015 is when you signed, right?
Yeah.
You were drafted 4 different times. So it was a grind. I had 9 years to make the major league, so I got to know all about when you got the call. Where were you at? The emotions of it? Who were you with? All of that.
I was at an In-N-Out with Kyle.
Oh, nice.
Hurt. Oh, yeah. We were in Sugarland. It was Hurt and Gowdy and...
They've got In-N-Out in Texas?
Yeah.
I got to make a road trip, man. I've never been to one. Okay.
Oh, man, you've got to try it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, keep your expectations low.
Okay.
A great fast food burger. But we were all sitting there, and I'd gotten called twice before saying, hey, we think you're going, and then it didn't. And so I get the call again, and they go, hey, you're going up. And I was like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Go back to the field, pack up my stuff. And it's one of those things where you don't sleep. You don't want to change anything. So like, don't change the way the air moves. Don't do anything. Sat up the whole night. 3 o'clock in the morning, we had to like go to the airport, fly into LA. The entire time, I'm like, okay, we're on the plane. Okay. We get to LA. I'm like, okay, we're going to the stadium. I think that's a good sign. We get there. They have like a nap room. I'm sleeping in there, trying to catch up on sleep. Get in the bullpen, and I was like, okay, now we've made it. Now I'm a big leaguer. They can't take this away. They may send me down, but I sat in this bullpen as a big leaguer. It was pretty crazy.
Absolutely. So you take them out and take us through like the first couple of pitches, the emotions, and then the biggest one I like to ask, when you were finally done with your major league debut, that exhale. Take us through that.
What sucked was honestly, because I didn't pitch the first couple days, so I had time to kind of settle into it. Yeah. But I settled into it, and so I'm like, I can do this. It's baseball. Okay, who cares? And I've been good about telling myself that. Like, it's always baseball. Just go out there and do it. And so I'm sitting there in the pen. I throw my pitches. I'm warming up to go in this game. And I was like, it's baseball. Like, I'm making my spots. I look good. I'm like, okay. I jog out. Barnsy's warming me up because Smith is still getting
2 Riverside boys, huh?
Oh,
Came a long ways, huh?
Oh, yeah. First pitch, absolutely zoo it. I mean, clicks off his glove, goes to the backstop. Instantly realize what's going on. Yeah. I like look around. I can hear all the fans. I can see what's going on. I know my family's there, and I know they're thinking, oh, God, please don't make this a bad at bat. And I'm like, oh, man, my eyes are like that big. First guy comes up, Nolan Jones. I keep yanking fastballs at his knees. He keeps pointing at the plate to be like, bro, just get it over the plate. And I'm like, I'm trying. I can't. So he ends up walking, and thank God the next guy coming up is Hunter Goodman, who I played with when I was with the Rockies. And it became like, oh, you know what? This is AAA. This is a guy I recognize. Who cares? Get ahead.
Wow.
He ends up roping a line drive that gets thrown out, taken second.
Nice.
And it just settles back into just, okay, this is baseball. Let's go.
Then he strung 4 zeros in a row. That was a cool streak, right?
Yeah, it was fun. It's great when you have
fun.
that kind of defense behind you.
Absolutely. So was that Eureka moment that I call it? Did you have that where you stood there? Any one particular moment where you went, hey, this is really cool. It's a really big deal, but I'm good enough to be here?
I would almost say it was before that, which is weird. It came in the World Baseball Classic, and it came even in AAA baseball. Is you face a lot of big league guys. Like almost every roster you face, there's a name you recognize.
Yeah, right.
And so when you face them, you go, okay, I've faced a big leaguer before. I've faced guys who are up and down big leaguers.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between doing it here or doing it there? It's weird because there's a huge difference. There's 50,000 people watching. It works, yeah.
Okay, very good. So now we're back down in AAA Oklahoma City. The crowds on Tuesday are like in the 3,000 to 5,000s, right? So you got to throttle it back down, create your own energy. How do you do all that? How do you make that transition?
It's tough. Honestly, the toughest parts are kind of like the before the games. Because before they let the fans in and all that, and when you're shagging baseballs, you still have a crazy amount of people watching. And here it's like no one's allowed in, so it's just quiet and dead. When it gets to the pitching time, honestly, I'm still attack mode. I don't like my competition. I don't like people I play against.
Yeah,
and
sure.
so my dislike for the people I'm playing against doesn't change whether I'm here in Arizona or in like LA. Like, I just kind of keep attacking it as this person's trying to take your job.
Hey, you're like Dreyer, man. You're like the nicest dude, the most happy-go-lucky dude. Then you take the mound, you turn into a whole new, different person, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome to watch. Okay, so last question. You have an incredible story all the way from Riverside. You told the story about where you lived and all that, all the way to the major leagues. 9-year grind, close to a decade trying to make it. What is your message for all those kids out there that maybe think that, hey, I want to get there, but I don't know how?
This could even go to anybody in life in general, is if you've put in the hard work, and it's a big if, you put in the hard work, you keep grinding, you keep doing the stuff, don't quit. A guy told me, I wish I could remember his name, my first season, my first spring training, and he said, I'm like, how do you get here? He was a big league guy up and down, and he said, don't quit. And I was like, don't quit. I was, again, first year, I was like, no one quits. No one quits when you're trying to play baseball. And through all these years, you realize a lot of people do. Whether it's because they went to indie ball, whether it's because of injury, a lot of people kind of quit and say, hey, I'm going to move on. This isn't sustainable. And I always went back to him, like, don't quit. And for anything, if you want to go to certain colleges, if you want to go and work a certain job or whatever your life goal is, if you put in the effort, you just keep going. Yeah, you have to find a way to make it work. You may have to pick up other jobs and all that, but, like, you got to keep trying. Even when it's hard, even when it feels like it's never going to happen, you got to keep going.
Second time I've had a chance to talk to you. You probably don't remember the first time, but it was really cool for me to actually get a chance to stop an interview. I was so glad when you said yes to hop on this interview. It's a very big honor for me. British Gas or Big Mike? Which one do you like better? Either one?
Either one.
As long as it has a major league tag behind it, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining Dodgers Daily.
Absolutely.
Okay.